First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Frank Policelli is a local attorney, of course. And Frank, good morning. We've been talking a lot about nursing homes. Really been talking about a lot about the women and Cuomo. And you feel like that whole thing is a distraction. The real story is the nursing home story.
Yeah, but before I want to tell you, don't bet against Sister Gina anymore because you can't win. So anyway,
I think that's a good point. Yes.
Well,
all right.
Here's the thing. I represent a party that's involved in a class action lawsuit that was filed a few days ago down in Brooklyn in federal court. The class is the employees of these nursing homes, several of these nursing homes in the New York City area, where what happened was the nursing homes were supposed to fund their employee benefit plan so that they could, under the ERISA plan, so that they could have the employee benefits. And what they did was they represented in their so-called cost reports, because you got to understand something. Nursing homes get paid by the bed, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they get Medicaid and Medicare payments per bed of patients, of residents, I should say, that they have. And they say, well, this is our cost reports. This is what we showed to the Department of Health. We got to pay money for, this is how much we have for staff. This is how much we have for PPE, and so on and so forth, okay? And they get that money. Now, what happened was this, and we've been working on this case for a couple of years. Yeah, you talk about Cuomo and Trump, right? He criticizes Trump, but here's what Cuomo did. He gets money in his political action committees, who was run by DeRosa's uncle and father, from these nursing homes.
DeRosa is his secretary,
his top aide,
and she's the one that actually started this whole thing with.
Well, she surely opened the door. Okay,
correct, fair enough, yeah.
And what happened was, so the nursing homes are losing their residents to these hospitals because the nursing homes residents are coming down with the coronavirus, because the money that was supposed to be spent for the staffing and the protective personal equipment wasn't being spent. They were showing their expenses for these costs, but instead of using that money for the employees, they were diverting the funds to offshore accounts. Okay, and they weren't funding the trust funds that were supposed to be spent for the benefit of these employees. And Cuomo knew that, and so did Zucker, because the Department of Health was supposed to audit them, and they gave them a pass on that. So they send these people so these people go to the hospitals, but they need these people to come back so they can fill their beds and get the money. Cuomo sends these people back to the nursing homes, knowing full well that he's sending them to their deathbeds because he knows these nursing homes are not equipped to take care of them. Now, why does he do that? Does he do that to spite Trump because he doesn't want to send these people to the Javits Center? He doesn't want to send these people to the places that Trump's providing?
Right.
He does it for political reasons. And then, I suppose if you had a choice of being charged with murder or being charged with sexual harassment, you take the sexual harassment. So I think that the sexual harassment stuff is a distraction to hide the real facts that are going on that were filed. And I gave you a copy of that complaint. It's 154 pages long.
Right.
And it shows basically a conspiracy. And we allege that, and we show over the years how these nursing homes were able to get away with the diversion of these funds from these employees. And the employees are the ones that suffer because they don't get the benefits that they're supposed to be getting. And you could see if these people that worked at these nursing homes, and you could go back to the fact that they were warned in 2014 with the Ebola outbreak, how to prepare for a pandemic, and they never did that. And the Department of Health was supposed to supervise them, and they never did. So they were able to get away getting all this money from the state, from Medicaid, from the federal government for Medicare, and instead of using that money for what they say they were using it for, They diverted that money out to offshore accounts, laundered the money back to other entities in the States and overseas, and these employees suffered.
Were these accounts controlled by Cuomo or people close to him?
Not controlled by Cuomo, but Cuomo. The allegation is that Cuomo
allowed it to happen.
Overlooked it. Yeah.
So, Frank, can you explain this again? Because now you're talking about money laundering and rediverting money. Why isn't the AG aware of this? Were there complaints made to the AG's office?
The AG is aware of it, but as a matter of fact, read the report by Letitia James that she made in January. She, as a matter of fact, that report was attached to our complaint because everything that I'm telling you was in the Attorney General's report. Go back to 2019 when this first surfaced, and we started to do our research in tracing and following the money. Not only is the AG's office involved, but so is the U.S. Attorney's office in the Eastern District down in Brooklyn.
Wow. And, Frank, who are you representing?
I represent a party in interest in this case.
Okay.
Okay, and you don't want obviously you don't want to tell us the party.
Well, the party in interest is a local corporation that's a parent corporation of an insurance company that was involved with providing workers' compensation coverage to these employees, and part of that coverage included what we call a 114 trust, that's security or collateral for the program. So it gets pretty complex and complicated. But there's a local interest involved in this.
Frank in Westmoreland says you guys need to see if you can talk to Assemblyman Kim in New York. I think he will back up everything this attorney is telling you.
And Frank, you're saying that Cuomo specifically overlooked it, or staff members overlooked it?
Well, Cuomo micromanages everything, so nobody does anything without the boss's approval.
Well, that's not true, Frank, because his buddy who was getting the boxes of Ziti, he had nothing to do with that, Frank. That was self-serve. That was help yourself.
I wish I knew more about what Prococo was doing. I would have stopped him.
He never knew, Frank.
Right.
He never knew.
The only thing I would say, Frank, is this? It would be hard to prove that Cuomo. Is there proof that Cuomo overlooked this? That Cuomo's administration specifically knew this and overlooked it? Is that provable? And in this lawsuit, is that being alleged?
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's documents that show that they knew it, and for political reasons.
The records.
Right. You've got what?
The records.
The records.
The records. Okay. All right.
And I guess if Cuomo's not, that's probably he's not in control. Where are these accounts? Who do these accounts belong to?
The nursing homes.
The money that's being diverted?
Well, sure, yeah. What happens is this. In order for the nursing homes to pass audit, they have to show the Department of Health what their costs and expenses are, okay?
Right.
And per bed. So they get so much money per bed based upon what it costs to provide the services.
Right.
So they expense that, okay? Now they say that this is where we're paying the money because I'd have to explain to you what an ERISA plan is, the Employees Retirement Income Security Act, and how that's set up, okay? And that's what we do in 154 pages is we explain in excruciating detail how the plan was set up, how it was supposed to be administered, who was administering it, who the brokers were, what kind of insurance they got, where the money was supposed to go. And they're saying, well, the money was supposed to go into this 114 trust to act as collateral for a self-insurance plan, and the money never made it to the trust. Well, where'd the money go? Well, we get the bank accounts. The money went to an offshore account in Bermuda.
Oh, get him, Frank.
Yeah.
Get him, man.
So, and
my gosh.
And you believe that this is the story that nobody's talking about.
If Frank's right here, he's right, and he's right on top of it. This is the story. I can't believe that nobody else is talking about this.
Well, the lawsuit was just filed.
It's a lot easier to say to get some being the ultimate cynic as I usually am, worst case scenario type guy. Cuomo, look, You think anything's going to happen with these sexual harassment claims? I don't. Did anything ever happen to Trump? No, although Trump wasn't the president when this happened. But, Cuomo was the acting governor, and he claims that these women were claiming that he did these things. Now, here's my point. If the woman in Albany claims that he actually had improper contact with her that the local district attorney's office is investigating, that's a crime. That's sexual abuse.
Put his hand up her shirt, allegedly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a crime. They're going to prosecute him for that. That's a Class B misdemeanor, Are they going to prosecute him for that? Because everything else that they claim is really non-prosecutable. So,
right.
But I suppose it's a lot easier to get through the sexual harassment claims because, he could. I mean, for a guy that criticizes Trump, he's a carbon copy of him. He does the same things. He acts the same way.
Yeah.
So, and plus, I think he would rather be accused of sexual harassment than knowingly sending people to their death.
Do you really believe that? Because we've talked about this on the show here, and it does seem like he was trying to avoid any assistance. You could make the argument he was trying to avoid federal assistance that was coming, obviously, from Trump. But the belief that we're going to overwhelm our hospitals, we've got to put these people back into the nursing home so that we have room for the new wave of patients coming in.
But Jeff, he's sending them to nursing homes that he knows isn't equipped to take care of them.
Okay, look. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying other people have argued, and I.
Well, it's an allegation.
How does he know that they're not equipped to take care of him? Right.
Correct.
Because he knows that they're not spending the money for the staff and the personal protective equipment. And
Frank, I don't think our audience has ever been so united on this point. They hope they're right, and they're in their cars yelling, Frank.
I have somebody asking, do you think that these will be dismissed as another wild conspiracy theory like Whitewater? Do you think that will be what, once Cuomo has the opportunity where he has to actually comment on this, will it be dismissed away as just a wild theory that's not true?
Well, he could comment all he wants, but we're in federal court on this.
Right. And you say you have the evidence. The evidence is there to prove all of this.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting stuff.
Get him.
Okay.
That is awesome.
Frank Policelli, we appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see where this whole thing goes.
Now, Frank, one more thing. Are you a part of a team with attorneys around the state? Are you the lead on this? Can you talk about that a little bit?
There's about a dozen lawyers involved in this. There's about 4 lawyers representing the class. I'm representing one of the parties in interest. We have lawyers in California, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, and locally. Okay? So, we have a team.
Excellent.
And then I have one more question from someone. Why didn't the nursing homes report this?
Because
they're in on it.
Ones that were making the money.
Yeah, they're in on it too. He's
saying something to hide. They contribute to Cuomo, and Cuomo owes them, so he kicks back to them.
All right. Although I will tell you, I remember nursing homes being very critical, and you're talking about specifically New York City nursing homes, but nursing homes were very critical of the Cuomo administration sending those patients back at that time. At least the ones up here were.
Take a look at the Newsday article that talked about Cold Springs Nursing Home in Suffolk County when they had the bodies piled up in the basement.
Yeah, I know. That was a terrible story. Okay, Frank, Interesting. Thank you. We appreciate it. Let's see where this goes. All right. Attorney Frank Policelli.
Swimsuit? Check. Sunscreen? Check. Phone charger? Check. Don't forget to pack the 5-Hour Energy. It fits great in a pocket or carry-on, and the alert feeling will help you arrive ready for anything. Now get 20% off when you use code 5HETRAVEL at 5hourenergy.com. Expires April 30th. One-time use only. Not valid with other discounts. Remember, visit 5hourenergy.com and use code 5HETRAVEL to save 20%.